Hello, everybody. How are you guys? Just getting ready. I am so excited to be here for today's topic because this is one true to my heart. This is such a fun topic that we're talking about today, where I'm going to share all about how to set up a photo shoot for you and for your business. And I love photo shoots, and it wasn't always like this. And I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about photo shoots. So if you have an upcoming photo shoot, if in the future you will have to do a photo shoot, whether you want to or not, if you love photo shoots, you will learn something. If you despise them and have to suffer through them, I hope that this will help you get some more insight as to what they are, why they're valuable, and really how you can make the most of them so you can step forward with complete authenticity, with grace, and really love what you're getting out of the photo shoot. So often I remember when I was a kid, we would go and do photos, and we'd always stand in front of a statue. We'd have our arms placed to our sides and like do the whole camera cheesy grin. And I had the same face, the same pose. Sometimes I'd bend a knee, and it just never felt good. My hair was always funny. My outfits never looked good. And I didn't have a lot of confidence. And so wherever you are and however you feel about this whole idea of photo shoots, know that you're in the right place at the right time, because you will walk away with something today to make you feel more confident in front of the camera, to make you create a more successful experience for yourself and for others, and to just walk away a whole lot happier with the end result. Okay, so that's what it's all about. Today's all about how to set up a successful photo shoot for yourself, for your business, because how you set it up is really going to dictate the success. Okay, that's one of the biggest things that we learned. We recently did a photo shoot for the Abundance Academy, and it was awesome. And we worked with many people on the shoot, and everyone we came across with was giving us compliments as to how organized we were, how we got so much content in such a short period of time, and we really knew what we were looking for. So planning is key. All right, I want to know where you're coming in from. And if you're tuning in by replay, type in replay in the chat. And if it's your first time here, type in first time in the chat. And I know some of you know me, some of you don't. And for those of you that don't know me, for our new members, I'm Larissa McCook. I'm a master results coach. I'm a trainer. I'm a truth seeker and CEO of Abundance Academy. And what we do is we help successful entrepreneurs radically transform their life and business. We help entrepreneurs create more time, create more freedom, create more money so that they can have the life that they've always dreamed of. The one that is like somewhere back there in the closet in the midst of your to-do list. And you can have it. You really, really can. And you can have it with ease, with joy, and with flow. Now, our company mission, Abundance Academy, is to positively impact more than 1 billion people across the globe and have a brighter future for all. Okay. So this is a big deal. And I really think photos, the power of photography, the power of pictures is so key. It is a way for you to get intimate with yourself, intimate with your audience, and express a feeling and express what you and your business are all about. Okay. So I'm a firm believer that intention is everything. Okay. So intention really is everything. So before you go off and plan a shoot or even think of a shoot, you want to know why you're doing it. What is the point of holding this photo shoot? Is it a branding shoot? Is it for social media? Is it for promotional materials? Is it for a book cover? Because often the type of photo shoot is going to dictate where you have the shoot, how long it's going to be, what kind of clothing you need, who's going to be involved in it. And it's really important to know why you need these photos, okay? Because that's gonna move everything forward. So intention is everything. And I think even beyond that, in the terms of intention, when you set an intention, you want to know, is it going to be like, do you intend to make this a struggle? And do you intend to just get through the shoot? Or do you intend to actually step up and have this be an entire experience. Okay. I firmly believe if you are working with a team, if you are working with a group of people, this is a really huge opportunity to have team building opportunities. If it involves other people, because this is a very empowering experience and can be a lot of fun. So I'm going to share a couple of key moments in my life that have really led up to this idea of photo shoots being fun. Now, I said we used to travel. We used to get a lot of pictures in front of statues and churches and museums and holding things, and I never liked them. And I met some photographers back in 2005 at a party. We were at a dance party in someone's garage. And we connected and we actually became friends. And I remember a few months later, I was sitting, I don't even know what got into my head, but I impulsively picked up the phone and I called my friend Janet and I'm like, Janet, I want to come over and I want to do some photos today. Because they did a lot of family photos, weddings, business, other stuff, but they also did boudoir. I'm like, I want to get some sexy photos. And I don't know what got into me, because if I had thought twice, I would have never done it. So anyway, she's like, sure, we're free this afternoon. Come on over. So I went over. She had wardrobe. She had everything. And she really made this a beautiful experience. And so I feel fortunate that she was able to make this kind of glam shoot a beautiful experience for me, because I was scared. I mean, I think I was pretty fully clothed. I had stockings all the way up. I had gloves. I had everything. But for me, this is a very vulnerable moment, because I had never done something like this for myself, where I was featured and I was supposed to look beautiful. I was supposed to feel beautiful. And I never felt like that before. So flash forward a week or two later, when I got the photos, I saw them and I was like, wow, I look like a supermodel. It felt so, so, so empowering. And during the process, they were so kind. They had wardrobe. I learned a lot that day about how to assemble things. They had lighting. I learned a lot about lighting. I love to learn things as I do them. They posed, and I would ask why I was being posed in certain ways. So I started learning even from that day as to why things were happening and how they were happening. And so moving forward, I was like much more open to having my photo taken. And so I've done many, many shoots since then. Sometimes it would be because I bought fun masks and I wanted to just have some fun photos in a new prop I had. Others were when I was in the world of Pilates for headshots and for fitness shots. Other times it was business shots. I needed some in a suit. And so we needed some for business cards and for posters and flyers. And so each time I was very clear and specific, and that really helped set the intention for the shoot. Okay. So intention is key. And I think with everything I'm talking about, there's the psychological aspect to it, and there's also the physical aspect. So I want you to really keep both things in mind. Okay, so I've got some notes here. I scribbled them on a paper, and there's lots and lots of things that you want to consider, because when I was working at the Pilates studio, so I spent about 10 years working at the Pilates studio, and I spent time working on both sides of the camera. So I would run the Pilates studio. I'd work with clients, but I also started doing a lot of the photography there. And I would also be a model in that world as well. And so we started doing a lot of photo shoots with staff. And this is really where I learned that the power of people, this can be an empowering experience, because each time we would involve people, that would allow them to shine bright. We made sure that while people were at the shoots, that they had fun, that they looked great, that they felt great, that they really knew that the important part they played, not just in the photo shoot, but in the company. And we made it fun for them. We made them feel like rock stars. And this was a beautiful team building opportunity. So I think this is something that I ended up bringing into this shoot that we just did. Okay. So when we were planning for the Abundance Academy shoot, I'm just going to use this new one in the context of this. One of the big things I realized is I don't have photos. I don't have any recent branding photos for my business. And I have some from a photo shoot I did a couple years ago, but we've been really using them very, very well for the last couple years. And we need an update. So we needed some general photos to use in our promotional materials. We also need a website. We need a new website. And the photos we have, the last shoot we did, we have some beautiful photos, but they're shot landscape or portrait. So they're shot tall. And for websites, you need landscape photos. You want to make sure that there's space sideways for things like web banners as well, especially if you're sending out emails and there's more of that negative space. So for example, here, actually, let's say if I was on this side of the picture, there would be some negative space here where you could put some text on this side of the photo. So things like that, you want wider shots, you want more space above you, below you, and around you if you're using that as a consideration. So that was really important to us. And that was something that we talked to our photographer about. Okay. So we started looking at what we needed the photos for primarily. And for us, it's the website. Website. Everything else we got was important, but we looked at the pages that we wanted and we identified some key pages and things that we wanted each page to represent within what the company meant. And so we created a shot list or like a wish list. Like these are the shots we must have or shots that can suit this theme or this topic. These are the must-haves. And then these are the ones that we'd really like. And then we had like sort of the third and fourth options as well. My son's coming out. Okay, so we had the desired shots that we wanted. Hey, monkey. Now, the other thing we also looked at is, like I said, because it was on the website, that we wanted to make sure that the shots had more space around them, on the sides, and above them. And so sharing that with the photographer is really, really important because that's going to dictate how they frame the images, because you can always zoom in to a shot. You can't always zoom out. Okay. The other thing we did to get the feeling that we were looking to evoke was I created a swipe file. And this is something you can start doing right away and today. So I started looking around as I was on Instagram or doing some work on Facebook. I would notice photos that I really liked. There are some colleagues that have had photo shoots and I'm like, wow, I really like the pose that they're using in this shot. I really like the way they use their colors in this other shot. I really like how their outfit is expressing or evoking something. So I would look at either faces or the color palette or the pose or the scene or even the way something was shot with the negative space so I can get some ideas. Some were urban, some were more formal. And so I just literally, no judgment, anything I liked or found interesting, I put in a file. And so I kept doing that really, really diligently for a couple weeks before actually booking the shoot and doing it. And that really helped get the feeling of what we were after. Okay. And so we went, when I found the photographer, I said, okay, these are the things I like. This is why I like them. And here's what here are the parts of this image I'd like to replicate. So those of you that have done our self-image bootcamp, it's similar to that. It's like, here are the people I want to become and step into. And these are the elements that I want to borrow from each of them. Okay. So swipe file. So just find a folder on your desktop. You can pop them in there, do screen captures, or even on your phone, screen capture things, put them in a folder right away. I can't emphasize that enough. Put them in a folder right away, or you will get lost and you will lose them all. Okay. Now, the other thing you want to do is you also want to look at what color palettes you're working with. So we had just undergone a big process of branding. It still hasn't been rolled out, but we chose brand colors with the branding company. So we have a color palette. We have certain types of accents that are acceptable in the color palette. And so we worked with Lab Creative to do that. And we went through, like I said, the whole process to make sure that the colors that we wanted to choose for our company were expressing the messaging that we had, what the intention was. And so if you're not there yet, don't worry about that. Okay. The important thing is that, one, the colors look good with you. Okay. The colors you're working with look and work or complement you and your skin tone. If you have not seen an image consultant for that, I suggest you do, or find a friend that has really good taste that can say, that's just not something you should be wearing. Okay. So if you can't hire someone, find a friend that has impeccable taste in order to advise you. Okay. If you don't have that superpower. So really important that the colors you choose, they work with you. Okay. They bring out the best in you. And like even seeing an image consultant before a process like this can be so, so key, because you're going to feel like we put Kelsey on our team. She was there, and we put her in a green dress, and she's like, I've never worn this kind of green. And I ended up buying this random green dress. It looked good on me. I'm like, well, I'll try it. It might work for the shoot. And it just made her eyes sparkle because it was the right tone for her, and it just brought out her eyes. And she was like a total rock star. Okay. So you want to make sure that the clothing you choose is going to be appropriate with your business, for one, like the colors of the clothing are appropriate for business, that the colors are appropriate with your skin tone and can complement or work with the others that are wearing them if you're in a group. And then also that they're really going to express what you're after. Clothing is such a big part of it. Okay. The clothes you wear matter. And I'm wearing this dress today. I'm just going to scoot up. I'm wearing this dress. It's really cute, I think. So this is one of the dresses we wore for the photo shoot. It's a bit glamorous. It's got these ruffles on the top. It's very elegant. It's like pencil. It's got a pencil skirt bottom. It's got a very tight bottom, but it makes me feel very powerful. It makes me feel so elegant. And I absolutely love it. And that was one of the dresses we had chosen for the shoot. So I think it expresses abundance. So that's why we wore it. So you want to really think about what you're trying to evoke. Are you evoking something that is more comfortable and more intimate? Maybe like sitting and having coffee with a client or with a friend on a sofa. You may be wearing sweaters and jeans, or if you're in a more corporate setting, you'll be wearing suits or dress shirts or more structured clothing. Okay, so really think of the intention that the clothing is going to bring into the shoot. And another thing with the clothing, you always want to make it tighter than you think it needs to be. Okay, so baggy stuff and loose stuff generally does not photograph very well. So the more fitted it is, the better. Okay, so it doesn't need to be skin tight like this dress. However, more fitted clothing generally works better for photo shoots because it will show off the actual shape of the body. And baggy stuff, based on lots of shoots, just generally does not photograph well. It doesn't hang very well on the body, especially if you don't know how to pose in it. Okay, so lots of things so far. We've talked about setting an intention. We've talked about creating a swipe file. We've talked about thinking about your colors. We've talked about clothing. Okay. Now, these are things that you may not be, you may be into them. You may have an area of expertise in them. You may not. If you don't have an area of expertise, go hire someone to help. If you do, go have fun, like enjoy every single moment. Now, you want to make sure that they all work together. If you're choosing several outfits, you want to make sure those colors and those outfits complement one another. They're not all going to be the same, but they work within the same theme. So one of the things that we did is I had a couple of advisors. I've done this a lot for myself, but this type of intention was new. So I actually had the branding company that we were working with. And so they help people set shoots up like this. So I asked for advice. I asked a lot of questions. She gave me tips. She's like, go get props in your color palette. So I go to HomeSense and I went and found, I had my whole color palette sheet and I'm looking for everything that was a prop. That's something I'd never done before. So we got some pillows, we got some blankets, we got some vases, we got some picture frames, things like that. So props, coffee mugs, right? Even things like this, coffee mugs can be great. So props that are pops of color in your color palette are so key. So that was one thing she suggested. I worked with an image consultant as well. I've worked with her over the last several years. So she takes me shopping and it's always for a slightly different intention, but I learned so much about the meaning of clothing every single time with her. And so I said, okay, this is what we're prepping for. She helped me shop for the shoot. she looked at the locations we were considering. She looked at the swipe file I had in mind. And she also made some suggestions for me based on the work we've done together. Okay. So we went through all this stuff. And then we had another conversation right before the shoot. She's like, okay, so think about the poses, right? So really think about the meaning that your body is trying to evoke. Like crossed arms can be a very powerful thing. It can also be a bit standoffish. So even bringing a pose together like this, the triangle hands can be a powerful thing, or even just maybe more loosely, keeping a more open stance. So you can still have that connection, but instead of crossing your arms, you can have that looser stance. You can do stuff with your hands, but you also want to be careful like it's not too distracting. So pointing to things. So let's say you have a book. Okay, I have this book. Pointing to things. So those kinds of things are important. What is the intention of what you're doing? That it's always going to come right back to the intention. But when you start thinking of your poses, that's also going to add that level of depth, because thinking about whether you're going to be seated, whether you're going to be standing, whether you're leaning against things, whether you're on your own, whether you're with other people, is going to impact and dictate what you're actually going to do. And how you're going to show up in it. So literally talking about it, practicing these poses in front of a mirror. So thinking about which poses would be appropriate for which outfit. There are certain guidelines that would be a whole other lesson on which poses to do with which kinds of outfits. But generally, like if you're wearing skirts, you want to keep your legs together. If you're wearing pants, you can have more flexibility if you are in a seated position, shifting your weight to the back leg versus the front leg to elongate the body. Moving your hand, I hope this isn't too distracting, but like generally having your arm like this, women will have more of this, like you get the arm squish. So just bending your elbow slightly and putting your hand on your thigh, or even putting your hand on your waist, all of a sudden adds more definition to your arm. Okay, so just thinking about those kinds of things are key, and the more you practice, the easier it gets. Okay, so those are some things that you want to really do from a structural perspective. And I think when it comes to this type of shoot or any kind of photo shoot that you do have a specific intention for, you can be successful on very, very many different budgets. Okay. Budgets are always a big thing. This is one of the first things people are going to ask. They're like, what's your budget? What's your budget? And it can be very simple, right? You can find a reasonable photographer that does a great job to very, very expensive, right? There are photo shoots that can cost anywhere from $500 or a few $100s. Okay, you're not going to get very many photos, but a few $100s to maybe even $1,000 or $1,500. That could be a reasonable branding shoot, right up to like $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000. Now that sounds like a lot. There is a lot that can go into them. So you need to know what your budget is, and depending on the photographer you're working with, see what kinds of things that they've worked with in your area. So budgets, what are things that might be an expense? So part of the expense of the photo shoot obviously is the photographer, and they usually charge to actually show up and do the photos. And some of them will add a certain amount of photos with the shoot. My son's singing. Some of them will add some photos with the shoot, and others will have a separate post-production fee depending on which photos you take. If it's a branding photo, they're not just going to do a little bit of light retouching. They're actually going to make sure the photo is really, really spectacular. They're going to make sure that even like a little piece of hair like this is either tucked in or fixed, or if there's something odd, they're going to airbrush it. They're going to make it look really beautiful. And that takes time. And we all eat, so we want to get paid for our services, so we should be willing to pay for those. And that retouching can go anywhere from $30 to $50 to even $400 a photo, depending on where it's used. If you're looking to be on a billboard, you need that photo retouched a little more carefully, okay? And also to get licensing rights. So different photographers will work different ways. Another thing that you want to look at is in terms of budget and paying. If you're hiring an image consultant, you will have to pay for them to either go shopping with you or advise you. if you're bringing anyone else in, any other consultants or any other like set designers or people that might be helping you, you can always trade for any or many of these services, but if you can't, then that's something you want to at least consider as part of the budget. If you have staff coming, are you going to pay them or not? And hair and makeup. Okay, so photographer, definitely you want to pay for hair and makeup. I would advise you pay for that as well. I do a lot of my own makeup. I can do my own hair. However, for a photo shoot, there are always things with lighting that I'm not that specialized in, okay? And a true makeup artist will know exactly what to do with the contouring for the specific lighting situation you're doing for the different setting. And they can just do your makeup in the beginning, or they can stay there the whole day and adjust it as you keep going. So hair and makeup is really, really important. And that is something I would definitely invest in. And again, if you're not a specialist in it, maybe you have a friend that can help you with it, but you want someone that is really, really skilled at doing that, because that's going to bring out the best features of your face, of your body. Okay. So those are some of the things that you want to do in advance in terms of thinking about it and setting it up. You also want to make sure that the location you get is awesome. Okay. So maybe you're going to do this outdoors. Okay. If it's downtown Toronto, there are certain areas that may require permits. Most don't, but certain areas in really high traffic locations of major cities, they may require permits. So there are also beautiful studios that you can rent. Maybe your photographer has a studio. Photographers can often recommend locations because they do this stuff all the time. So make sure you find the location or locations that are appropriate. If you're doing like a one-day shoot, you might be able to get through 2, maybe 3 different locations. So we ended up doing 2 locations, and actually we did 3, but 2 of them were on the way to the third one. The second was on the way to the third one. And so really making sure the locations are going to match. I pre-selected outfits, and I had pictures of the outfits in an Excel spreadsheet, along with which page this was going to go on in my mind at that point, and what kinds of shots I wanted for that. Okay. And so that was also, it's like, I want this outfit indoors. I want this outfit outdoors. I want this outfit for this type of intention. And here are 5 poses or 5 types of things I want done with each outfit. So that way there was a checklist going into the shoot, but you can also make sure that the locations and the outfits and everything match. And then you can get really organized before the shoot. Now, at the shoot, just in conclusion, I hope this has been helpful for you guys. Now, at the shoot, you want to make sure that you show up well rested. You show up well rested. If you're getting your makeup done, make sure you have hydrated, like drink a ton of water the day before, a couple days before. Like that's not the night to go drinking wine or going to a bachelorette party. Okay. So you want to make sure that you are well hydrated, well rested, because these things, you want them as bright as they can be. And energy really is key. How you show up matters. You want to show up at your best and just have fun, because when you show up ready to have fun, ready to knock it out of the park, if you are like, I have beautiful clothes that I feel incredible in, this location is awesome, I'm getting my hair and makeup done, I feel like a princess, you are going to show up very, very differently than, oh my goodness, I don't want to be here. So how you show up is key. What you say to yourself, like the excitement factor that you evoke, can be absolutely huge. While you're at the shoot, again, make sure that you, in your mind, this is where mindset is even the most key, because you want to put in your mind that you're going to have fun. And you can. I've seen so many people walk into shoots intimidated and scared, going, oh, I don't know if this is going to work. And then they get their hair and makeup done and they're like, oh, well, this is kind of cool. Then they put an outfit on and get some photos and they're like, oh, well, let me take some selfies of myself now. It's a very different experience. Okay. So make sure you show up at your best with the intention of just being there. Intimately connect with the camera. You want to smize at the camera. Smiles like this, they're not going to cut it. There's something called the Duchene Smile. I learned about this in in the Tony Robbins Business Mastery seminar I went to a few years ago, and there was a speaker talking about the Duchene Smile, and he said anyone that doesn't have a little bit of crow's feet, right? Anyone that doesn't smile at least a bit with their eyes, we can't hire them because it's not a real smile. A tooth smile, there's no life. You want to sparkle with your eyes. You want to sparkle with your whole face and really let yourself shine, because you were put on this earth to do beautiful and wonderful things. And there's nothing more than you want than to express that. Express that through your photos, express that through your business, and literally just show up at your very best. The photographer is going to worry about the lighting. The photographer is going to worry about making sure all the things are set up. Like, give them a checklist. They always walk around with a checklist, making sure that they've got what they need. And you can ask, can I see? Can I just see? Can I take a peek? And they'll show you. It's super, super fun. When you're there, it's a really good idea to bring at least one other person that, again, has good taste, that can watch, that can make sure that your hair and makeup is in place. If there's like a fly undone, photographers, some of them notice, many of them are thinking about so many other things that's not what they're looking at. They're looking at your face. They're not noticing every other detail. You want someone that's going to notice the details, notice the pillow out of place, or the pile of papers that's in a funny spot. Okay, so you want to make sure that there is someone there to make sure everything about you, about your outfit, a wrinkle on your sleeve, it's all set and it's all in order, so you look good, you feel good. And if your energy's down, they're gonna crack silly jokes and lift your energy up, so you have a real authentic connection with yourself and with the camera. So I hope some of these more logistical things have been interesting and fun for you, because how you set up the shoot really will help dictate the success of the shoot. Obviously, that day you want to have everything there, you want to be prepared. However, the preparation you do prior to the shoot really is going to set you up for success. Look at these many different things and have fun along the way. Yes, part of it is the mechanics and having these things done. The biggest part is you making a decision that it is going to be freaking awesome and incredible. So with that, I hope you have an amazing day. If you have not registered for our Abundance Accelerator workshop, it is happening on October 18th. So just a few weeks away. We are so excited. It's coming up. It's right around the corner. It is a free 5-day workshop where we are going to help you and walk you through all the steps that you need in order to get to your abundance blueprint. And along the way, we're going to knock out some limiting beliefs, and we're going to really create the vision of what you truly want and what you truly, truly do believe in for yourself. Gonna be awesome, and we cannot wait to see you there. So make sure to register. There are links all over this site, and there's a link in the bio, and Kelsey will pop one into the description as well. So you have yourself a beautiful day. Happy photo shooting. If you guys are running a photo shoot, and if you need an actual consultation, if you're like, just like I saw image consultants and other people, if you want to book some time, I'm happy. We do like one-off consultations like that. If that's something you need for a half hour or an hour, I am happy to do that for you and with you. You can just book that with Kelsey and just make sure that you decide half hour, an hour, and then we can really go through this whole process step by step with you. Because I know that's why I've hired people to do that with me, because it always sets you up for success. So something we don't typically do, but I'm happy to do just because we have had so much experience. With that, enjoy your day. Bye for now.